Okay, this is going to be part 2 of factoring. I'm going to pick up where I left off. I want to introduce a new type of problem to you. Let's say I have something like this. Let's say I have 4x squared minus 25. Okay? Now, nothing changes here. Still 4x squared, still negative 25. Now, what you're going to say is, what terms go in here? Well, I'm still doing the same thing. I'm going to multiply those. It's going to give me negative 100. Now, I have no middle term. When you have no middle term, okay, you're looking for the set that would add up to equal 0. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the calculator, exit, negative 100 divided by x. All right, I'm going to set the table from 0 to a negative 100. I'm hitting exit, I'm looking at the table, and I'm looking for the table that would add up to 0, okay? All right, and here's a little tip for you. It's going to be the same number, okay? Negative 10, positive 10. So negative 10x, positive 10x. Why? Because those numbers plus themselves will cancel each other out. So what I'm going to do, that's going to be x here and x here, because I go that way. All right, I'm doing GCD, 4 and 10, GCD, 10 and 25, GCD, 4 and 10, and GCD, 10 and 25. If you notice, you're doing the same thing twice. It's actually a little less work, okay, to find them, but what ended up happening, that would be 2x, okay, since that's a negative, that's going to be 5, 2x, and positive 5. So my answer is 2x minus 5 and 2x plus 5, okay? If the leading coefficient is going to be a 1, okay, let's say I have an example like this, x squared minus 36, okay? All right, I'm doing x squared, I'm doing negative 36. All right, well, 1 times negative 36 is going to be negative 36. Okay, I'm going back, I'm going to do negative 36 divided by x. Whoops, too many 6's. Divided by x, okay? I'm setting my table. Exit table, okay? I'm looking for the set that adds up to 0. Okay, there it is, negative 6 and 6. Okay, x is going that way, x is going that way. GCD, 1 and 6. GCD, 6 and 36. Okay, going that way, GCD, 1 and 6, GCD, 6 and 36. Once again, if you notice, it's the same thing, so you'll have to compute it once. It's going to be 1, that's going to be negative 6, 1. Whoops, I should have been a positive there, and positive 6. So what I got is 1x minus 6, 1x plus 6.
Thank you, James. If you're in the building, please come to the main office. Thank you, James.
Okay.
If you're in the building, please come to the main
Now,
office.
what I'm going to start to introduce is the concept of having a GCF at the beginning of your problem. Okay, well, you can do this a number of ways. If you have something that looks like this, let's say I had 4x cubed minus 12x squared plus 5x. What you're going to want to do, if you have a variable in common amongst them all, and you see that right away, you're going to want to take that out, okay? It's the only way for the boxes to really work. So if I take out the x, all that does is basically reduces this to what we factored before, okay? All right, so don't overcomplicate that. So what I got here, okay, I got 4x squared and 5. I would multiply that, would give me 20. I'm looking for the set that adds up to negative 12, okay? So I got 20 divided by x, okay? My set, I'm going from 0 to 20, step of 1. Exit, now I'm going to look at the table. I'm looking for 12. As you can see, 2 and 10 pop up right away. Okay, now, since these are negative, I got to make both of those negative. I got x and x, my GCDs. Okay, I'm freezing right here. My GCDs would be 4 and 10, 2 and 5, 4 and 2, 10 and 5. Okay, and if you substitute those in, hopefully my board will reset so we don't have to start the video over. Okay, I think it's reset now. All right, so I do GCD, 4 and 10, GCD, 2 and 5, GCD, 4 and 2, GCD, 10 and 5. Okay, going across that would be 2, going across would be minus 1 because of the negative there. Going this way would be 2, going this way would be minus 5. Okay, and so what I got is 2x minus 5 and 2x minus 1. And that x that I put in front there, okay, that's gonna come out, okay? And you gotta make sure you put that in the final answer, all right? An example of a numerical GCF, all right, going back to a problem that we just did, let's say I have 2x squared minus 18, okay? Now, you can handle it, I'm gonna do a couple numerical GCFs. You can handle this a couple of ways. If you want to continue that, okay, all right, where I multiply, all right, putting that inside, okay, I got 2x squared negative 18. All right, that would multiply to give me negative 36, okay? Once again, I'm looking for the set that adds up to 0, okay? So if I do that, that's negative 36 divided by x. All right, I'm going to set my table. Okay. I 1, exit table. Once again, I'm looking for the set that adds up to 0. There it is, negative 6 and 6. So negative 6x and positive 6x. Okay. Now, I got x and x. Okay, I'm going to do GCD. 2 and 6 would be 2. GCD. Okay. All right. 6 and 18, which would be 6. GCD, 2 and 6. All right, GCD, 6 and 18. Okay, and what you would get here is this would be 2, this would be 6, this would be 2, this would be 6. Okay, now the problem with that is, if you notice, this is not reduced. So if you do it this way, you have to divide all of these by 2, okay? So what's going to end up happening is if you divide these by 2, I would get x in plus 3. If I divide, x in minus 3, that should be a negative. Divide these by 2, that's x in plus 3. And what I divided by 2, I'd have to put out front, okay? Now, another way to do that, if you want to, I'm going to give you the same problem. If I got 2x squared minus 18, I can do GCD 2 and 18 to start. And what you would figure out is that the GCF there is going to be 2. So I can go ahead and put that down on my answer and just turn this into this kind of problem. Okay? So what I have is when I do my boxes, I have x squared negative 9. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the set that multiplies to negative 9 to give me 0. Okay? So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do negative 9 divided by x. Okay? All right, I'm going to set my table, 0 to negative 9. Exit, I'm going to do the table. Now I got negative 3 and positive 3. So negative 3x, positive 3x. All right, I got x. My GCDs here will be GCD 1 and 3, GCD, okay, 3 and 9, GCD 1 and 3, GCD 3 and 9. Once again, you'll notice a similarity, okay? So what I got is 1 minus 3, 1 plus 3. And those go in here. And if you notice, it's the same answer, okay? What I recommend doing is, if you can see numbers that are divisible by 2, 3, you might want to try them at the beginning, all right? For instance, let me give you another problem. Let's say I had something like this. Let's say I had 5x squared, okay, plus 15x, all right, minus 200, okay? Now, as you see, that's very big. So what I want to do is, at the very beginning, maybe do the GCD with 5 and 15, okay, and see what I get. Do I get anything in common? And what they'll tell you is 5, okay? All right, and then what I'll do is when I do GCD, the only number I haven't checked is 200. So I'm going to use my result and do this. And what you'll figure out is it will give me 5 as a GCD. Well, what does that mean? Divide them all by 5 to start. Okay? And then the 5 that I took out will go down in my answer. All right? And what I have here is I got x squared and negative 40. Okay? All right, if I multiply that, I get negative 40. So that's what I'm looking for. All right, I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to do negative 40 divided by x. Okay, I'm going to set my table. Okay, exit, look at my table. I'm looking for the set that adds up to 3, and that's that set. So that's negative 5x and positive 8x. Okay, this is going to get an x, that's going to get an x. I would do GCD 1 and 8, GCD 5 and 40. Okay, which that would give me 1, that would give me minus 5. Okay, GCD 1 and 5, that would give me 1. And GCD 8 and 40, that would give me 8. So I put my answer down, that would be my answer. So you want to double check at the beginning that you don't have a GCF, okay? And that's just going to take some practice. Let me see how much time I have, see if I'll do one more. Yep, I'm going to do one more very briefly. Okay, last problem with the factoring. And if you practice this over and over again, you should do well. Okay, let's say I have 18x squared minus 39x plus 6. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check this. I'm going to do GCD, okay, 18 and 39. And if you type that in, what it's going to tell you is it's going to tell you 3. Okay? And then if you do GCD of 3, and the only number I haven't used, it's going to tell you 3. Okay? So if I divide them all by 3, that's going to give me 6x squared minus 13x plus 2. The 3 will go down here in my final answer. When I do my boxes, I got 6x squared and 2. I'm going to multiply, would give me 12. Okay? All right, got 12 divided by x. Okay, I'm going to set my table, 0 to 12. All right, and I'm looking for the set that adds up to 13. Okay, and I think I missed it at the beginning. Yep, 1 and 12 adds up to 13, but I'm looking for negatives, so I just put both of those as negatives. Okay, so I'm going to do GCD 6 and 12. Okay, all right, I would get that with x and x. Okay, all right, I'm going to do GCD 6 and 1. That's going to be pretty easy. That's going to be a 1. All right, I'm going to do GCD of 1 and 2. And once again, that's going to be 1 with a minus, because that's going to lead to the minus. And then I'm going to do GCD 12 and 2. And that's just going to be minus 2. Okay? And so I got this and this. And that would be my final answer. So what you want to check is at the very beginning on whether they have a common. And you can do that very quickly, all right, throughout your problems. That's probably what you should lead with to start your factoring. Check them, see if you can take anything out. Create your boxes. Fill in all the boxes. Okay? And then go to the table, do all the tables, and then do the GCD. That will probably make your factoring a whole lot easier.